Imagine this. The headlines scream betrayal. Two billionaires, both with more power than most could ever fathom, locked in a brutal battle, tearing each other apart in front of the world. It's the kind of story we can't look away from, yet we must. But stop right there. This isn't just another headline. What just happened between Elon Musk and Donald Trump isn't a petty celebrity feud. No. This is a brutal clash of powers that defines the very essence of the world we live in. A world where the richest man on earth can silence a former president, erase his presence with a single click, and expose his secrets to the world. This is the power we're dealing with. And this moment should shake us all. We must ask, who really controls the ground we walk on in this digital age? At first glance, the spectacle between Musk and Trump seems like a story about personal egos, a clash of titans. But peel back the layers, and you begin to see the true issue, the control of our digital world. This isn't just about two powerful men fighting for dominance. This is about the privatization of something that was once public, the very infrastructure of communication, of democracy itself. We've come to treat platforms like Twitter, now X, like utilities, believing they belong to the people, that they exist to serve us. But what happens when those utilities are no longer public? What happens when the owner of the platform can decide at will who speaks and who is silenced? The battle between Musk and Trump isn't just a personal grudge. It's a reminder of the fragility of our digital rights. It's a wake-up call. When we let a single entity control the stage, we risk losing the very freedoms we take for granted. And that's exactly what is at stake here. To understand what's happening now, we need to take a step back and look at the history. The digital space, once seen as a commons, a free place for people to interact, share, and speak, has steadily become privatized. We've allowed corporations like X to grow into monopolies that control the infrastructure of communication. They've taken what was once ours and turned it into their property. When Elon Musk bought Twitter, he didn't just buy a social media platform. He bought the very architecture of free speech, and with it, the ability to dictate the terms of public discourse. This wasn't just a business transaction, it was a reshaping of power in the digital age. Musk's purchase marked a shift from a platform that was once accountable to public interests to one that is entirely at the whims of its owner. The question now isn't just who owns the platform, but who owns the public square in the digital world. This is the real battle, and it's one we've been losing without realizing it. Then came the moment that would change everything: Musk's decision to ban Trump permanently. What seemed like a simple, if dramatic, action was anything but. It was a tipping point, a symbol of the new reality we face in the digital age. For years, Trump's voice dominated the platform, driving attention, engagement, and controversy. His presence kept Twitter relevant, vital even. But when he became too volatile, Musk didn't hesitate. This wasn't just about removing a user, it was a statement about power. Musk, with a click of a button, erased Trump's access to a global megaphone. But the decision wasn't just political, it was deeply economic. Musk has a massive debt load to manage. To appease advertisers, to maintain control, Musk needed to show that X could be a safe space, and that meant cutting loose the most dangerous asset in his portfolio. When the highest bidder can silence a former president without due process, we're not just witnessing a political dispute. We're seeing the future of control in the digital age, and it's terrifying. But here's the crucial point. This action wasn't just a personal vendetta or a business decision. It's a window into the broader system at play. The ability to ban someone so swiftly, to erase their presence from an entire digital ecosystem, reveals the underlying mechanics of power in the digital age. It's not just about what you say, it's about who controls the infrastructure of speech. Musk didn't just buy a platform, he bought the right to shape the digital public sphere. This is about the architecture of control. Platforms like X are more than just websites, they are the public squares of our time. And in the hands of a private owner, those squares become battlegrounds, where rules are set by the whims of a single individual. We've seen this dynamic before in other industries. When a monopoly forms, it doesn't just control the product, it controls the very terms of engagement. In this case, Musk controls the terms of free speech. And with that power, he controls not just what's said, but what's even allowed to be heard. We are now spectators in a digital world where the rules of the game are defined by a single player. But the real shock didn't come from the ban itself. It came from the aftermath, the release of what are now called the Trump files. These aren't just the words of a private citizen. They are a former president's private conversations leaked for the world to see. It's a raw, public humiliation of a man who once held the most powerful office on the planet. But what's more alarming is how it happened. Musk didn't just decide to silence Trump. He weaponized the very data that Trump had willingly surrendered to him. By leaking these messages, Musk didn't just end a partnership, he exposed the dark side of the digital age. We often talk about data privacy as a right. But here's the reality. Data is a commodity, a weapon. And once it's in the hands of the owner of the platform, it can be used to destroy anyone. This isn't just about Trump. It's about every person who uses the platform. Your data is not safe. Your privacy is a transaction. And once you trade it, you lose the right to control it. Musk has shown us that the private owner of the platform is not just a gatekeeper, he's a judge, jury, and executioner. Now, let's bring this closer to home. This is where the story moves from the abstract to the deeply personal. Think about your own life for a moment, your job, your social media, your digital presence. We've all heard the phrase, data is the new oil. But let's not forget what happens when you're the product being sold. Your data, your posts, your digital interactions, they're worth something to someone. And if you're not careful, that someone can turn on you without warning. For regular users, this is a harsh reality. If Musk can expose the private messages of a former president with impunity, what happens when you, the average person, cross a line? What happens when a journalist, a whistleblower, or a union organizer tries to use this platform for good? This event highlights something that should terrify all of us. There is no digital privacy anymore. Not really. The question we should all be asking is, what happens when the data we freely share becomes the tool used against us? When the public square is owned by a private entity? How long before the people are simply silenced? But the implications stretch far beyond the individual. This is not just about one platform or one man's decision. The actions we're seeing unfold with Musk and Trump have profound global repercussions. In a world where social media platforms have become the backbone of political movements, this is a seismic shift. We are witnessing the power dynamics of geopolitics being played out in the digital sphere. If Musk can make a move that alters the political landscape of the United States, what's to stop him from influencing elections, suppressing voices, or manipulating the very flow of information globally? The ripple effects are already being felt beyond the U.S. Borders are no longer the physical lines on a map. They are digital, they are invisible, and they are controlled by a few powerful players. The world is watching as the private sector increasingly takes on the role once held by governments, regulating speech, controlling information, and shaping the narrative. When we lose control over the digital infrastructure, we lose more than just a platform. We lose our ability to communicate freely, to organize, and to stand up for what's right, no matter where we live. So, what does the future hold? Let's explore 3 possible scenarios, each more unsettling than the last. Scenario 1, the best case. We find a way to restore balance. There's growing awareness about the dangers of monopolistic control over public discourse, and we begin to build decentralized alternatives. Governments step in, creating stronger regulations to protect digital rights and data privacy. People realize the need to reclaim the public square from private hands, and we see a rebirth of true, open communication platforms. But this is the best case. It requires immense collective action and vision. Scenario 2, the middle ground. Platforms like X and others continue to dominate, but we see some accountability emerge. There might be more transparency, perhaps some semblance of regulation. Yet, the control still remains in the hands of a few, and political and economic leverage will continue to shape the digital narrative. the system becomes more stable, but it's still ultimately a corporate-controlled world, one where the public is a passive spectator. Scenario 3, the worst case. We continue down this path without any meaningful checks, platforms become even more centralized, and our personal data is fully weaponized. The lines between corporate interests and government power blur, leaving us in a state of digital feudalism. Our digital lives, our very identities, become commodities. This is the dystopia we must avoid. As we conclude, it's clear that this is not just a story about Elon Musk and Donald Trump. This is a story about the future of our digital lives. We are witnessing the rise of a new form of power, one where the lines between capitalism, politics, and technology blur into something unrecognizable. The public square has been privatized, and with it, our freedom of speech, our privacy, and our ability to communicate without fear of retribution. What Musk has done isn't just about silencing one man, it's a statement to all of us. Your data, your voice, your very presence on these platforms, it's not yours. The system is rigged. It's time for us to wake up. But here's the question. What will we do about it? The power to change this lies in our hands. We must demand more from the platforms we use. We must build alternatives that prioritize the people, not the profit. This is the moment. The digital world we inherit will either serve us or enslave us. It's up to us to decide. Are we ready to take back control?